Hi, I'm Xinyi. And so first of all, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Cindy. I'm Yixing, just the opposite of your name. I am a trainee clinical psychologist from Taylor's University. Yeah.
Okay. So from your current psychological studies, how do you understand the impact of social media on people's mental health, and states, for example, triggering anxiety? Do you think it's a common phenomenon now?
I would say yes. It's quite a double-edged psychosocial tools where it will have pros and also cons. Pros in terms of it can help us. Now we are also having connection through social media and then identity exploration, even mental health advocacy. Like through social media, we can actually gather a lot of information. But at the same time, it can also provide a lot of cons, like we will have more social comparison, which I think is the main factor why there will be more anxiety coming up because of social media. And there will also be performance pressure. Let's say if I see that, oh, Cindy, you are doing a good job, I may compare myself with you and I may have a lot more stresses from there. And it will be more significant, especially when we are not consciously aware about the impact of social media. Yeah.
Okay. And based on what you have learned, what psychological theories or related knowledge can explain this phenomenon?
Like I said, social comparison, and in fact, there is this theory called social comparison theory in psychology, and it is the first thing that came into my mind. So, like I said, we often will compare ourselves, like judging ourselves by comparing ourselves with others, and it's not a bad thing if we do it appropriately and also consciously, but because without it, we won't know that what are we doing, or we won't know that is our performance actually going well. So comparing ourselves with others actually give us like benchmark of how we can improve. But let's say if we compare too much excessively, it will cause like idealized standards that feel inferiority or anxiety. And other than social comparison, I would say there is this theory called self-discrepancy theory, because when there are big gap between our actual self with the idealized self that we see on the social media, we may experience emotions like jealousy, envy, shame, or anxiety. So, which are something that can be very detrimental to our mental health.
Okay. So, do you think ordinary people are aware that what you see on social media is not always real? Why do people still get affected even when they know this?
Honestly, I can't read their mind, so I cannot speak for anyone else. But for me, I think that with the advancements of like this informative era, I believe half of the means doing. I know that I shouldn't eat so many sugar because I will get diabetes, but people still do it. Why? Because it will help us to because like using social media actually will also spark our brain connection. It will give us a lot more dopamine, and also it will let us to become more addicted in the social media. And that's why even though we are consciously aware that it's not something real, but we might have difficulty like stopping us from using a lot of social media. Yeah.
Yes. And as a psychological student, have you personally experienced this kind of anxiety when using social media? How did you cope with and regulate it?
Yes, definitely. Because I am a human too. So if I'm a human means that I will have emotion, and like I said, like when we play social media, that it will spark our brain connection, and I'm a human. I have that brain connection as well. But a good thing is that because of studying psychology, I started realize about the impact of it on the brain, our human brain. So I will actively notice myself doom scrolling, like sometimes when I am feeling a bit empty or when I feel very sad, I will actually spend a lot of time scrolling my phone, and I will look at my friends. Wow, she's doing so good, and I will spiral into comparison when I am stressed or uncertain about myself, especially with my own peers. But then over the year, I have slowly learned about the powerful impacts of social media. And I would say being awareness, and also mindfulness are the key step for me to regulate my behaviors. So when I aware of being very mindful of my behaviors, I'm actually letting my logical thinking to come in. So I will be more able to take control of my behaviors rather than just let the dopamine system to hijack my brain. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And do you think a certain group like teenagers or women are more easily influenced by social media images? Why?
Yes. Social media is meant for it has and cons, but then adolescents, emerging adults, or children will be particularly get affected a lot by social media because our there is this thing called prefrontal cortex in our brain, which we use it to engage with our logical thinking and also attention. It will be something that will be highly affected among the population that I mentioned because they are still growing their brain, and also because in during adolescence, teenage year, we are in a phase where our identity is forming. Like I will easily get influenced by my peers, not like us. Maybe we are more logical in being able to think that, oh, this shouldn't be something that I want to look at. So for adolescents, they might be having more comparison with their peers through social media. And for children, not no need to mention because for adolescent they are still developing. How about children? Their brain are even that more like a development is needed. So they will be more vulnerable to the impacts of social media, and also I would say women and also adolescents girls have more might get more affected as well because not to stereotype the gender differences, but most of the time, women are more neurobiologically sensitive, which we might have heightened emotions compared to men. So we might be able to get more affected by the societal expectations as well. And lastly, I would say individuals with pre-existing mental health vulnerabilities or older adults who may have experienced traumatic brain injury, or like anyone with like vulnerable brain structure might have more impact lah. Yeah.
Okay. And from a psychological perspective, what practical method can you help people avoid being influenced by the illusion of perfection on social media?
Honestly and sadly, I don't think we can perfectly 100% avoid the illusions of perfections because it involves factors that are not at individual level, but also the matter of fact or like product of globalizations. Because of the world is advancing, our social media will go and will become more and more advanced, and social media is designed to hijack our dopamine system other than the practical factors where it can help us to gather more information, but the developer they meant to give us more dopamine by using social media. So our human brains tends to default to heuristic processing. We need to judge very fast, so it can give us very fast information feeding, but and we are also social beings where we need for belonging, we need for admiration and approval. So we will always get affected. But the thing is, resilience or critical media literacy or even authentic self-worth. We need to be mindful and also be aware of what impacts the social media gave us and help us to strengthen our critical awareness. Like we are not going to believe everything that we see in the social media, just like the question that you asked me just now. We need to bring in our critical head, and then we also need to there are algorithm when we are playing like 小红书, like Douyin. The more we see a content, the more the similar contents that will flow in. So we need to be careful with what we see. Like just like you are what the quote, you are what you eat, the same thing, you are what you see. So I think it's important for us to practice digital mindfulness. We need to observe how we feel before, during, and after we use social media. Or we also need to know, why am I using social media today? Like, what is the objective of me using social media today? Is it because I want to look for information, or is it because I'm here to update myself from to my friend, or is it because I want to compare myself with my friend? Yeah, so I think we have to always remind ourselves that we have our own truth. What we see may not be necessarily real. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think social media anxiety is a common issue of our time? In the future, will it get worse or will people gradually adapt?
Yes, especially social media is on the rise, just like the first question that you asked me. It is a very common phenomena. And we know that the world is advancing. Unless you tell me that the world is going to regress one day, or maybe we go back to Web 1.0, there is no 5G, there is no TikTok, there's no AI. I think it's quite impossible, because for now, we are actually moving forward. And um social media use is a mirror of globalization, and it is also a mirror of our contemporary life, unless we want to go back our ancestor life, because it still gives us a very useful information, and it gives us a lot of convenience as well. So I think things that we can ask ourselves is that will algorithm become more humanistic or manipulative? Maybe the developer wants to hijack our brain even more, or maybe they notice that, oh, social media is really giving a lot of negative impacts. We should craft in a way that let the human aware of the impacts. Or will our digital literacy or emotional awareness improve? Like, let's say the older generation, a lot of people, they might still not know about AI, but what if future they actually know that, oh, AI can have such pros and cons, and people are having more critical thinking, then by that time maybe um we have more regulation towards our emotional brain, and maybe we might not get affected so much by the social media. Yeah.
Okay, that's all for our interview. Thanks for your knowledge and views.
Okay.